Would you like to support Cubs Out Loud? One way is to join us over on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, patrons get early access to our shows, the pre and post show, and various other rewards. You can learn more at patreon.com/Cubs Out Loud. Thanks to all of our patrons for their support in making this podcast. It's January 4th, 2026. I'm Jeff.
Who's your bear? That's right. I am your bear.
I'm Damon.
I don't brew the tea, I just serve it.
And that makes me Gary.
Everyone else is thinking it, and I just say it.
Welcome to Cubs Out Loud, the Bear Podcast of Industry. We're going to link to episode number 811. And welcome to the new year. Why do I feel
Ooh, you can tell how excited we are about that.
Sorry, I'm holding back. I was holding back a statement that I didn't want to say.
I mean,
No, you
where
the
you're
way
in a
you
safe space.
the way you said it, the way you said that, and that makes me Gary. And I was like, "Are you sure?" Anyway,
I don't know.
sorry.
The first thing I thought when I said it, said "Welcome to the New Year." I kept thinking of that Imagine Dragons song. Welcome to the New Age.
Oh,
Fair. Very fair.
We all had different reactions. See.
yes.
It's okay.
So over the next 365 minutes, we'll be talking about each day. So January 1st, 2025.
I mean, you can do that. I think Gary and I will be
That'd
gone.
be like 6 hours long.
Yeah, like
Right.
no, thank you.
Right.
No, thank
No.
you.
It was a joke.
I was like, oh, is that what we're doing? Let me make sure my phone is charged and put my game on and like.
Right.
No, David talked too much. So it ended
Anywho.
up going full 12 hours. Anyways, moving on. So, Gary,
Yes.
would you like
It's-
to Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Doo.
Doodle-doo.
Do you mean Wayne's World?
They get the doodle from Scooby-Doo. Flashbacks.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Now I feel
The,
out of sorts. Anyways.
this comes from Wayne's World. But it's referencing flashbacks and Scooby-Doo.
Just for the record, everybody out there, we don't really edit this show, so that's in there. We don't go back and take stuff out or snip or cut it really to
No.
make us look better or
No.
more polished or whatever.
No.
Raw. That's how this show is. Just-
We'd like to do this show raw.
Wow. Okay. So it is the beginning of a new calendar year.
It's so off the rail.
we typically do a look back on the previous year. We had some ups and downs and all sorts of things in between. So just some generalized questions. We used to get into nitty gritty and talk about stats and how many episodes and viewers and all sorts of stuff. And we've moved away from that. I think this is more, we're in a new era, if you will, and where the world is and where our country is. So this is mostly about what stands out as notable in the past year despite all the attention grabbing like news stuff that was going on
Right.
in the world. And I had to really think about it because it I think as we get older, we find that time goes faster.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was very young, not super young, but like probably when I was a teen, I was like, I can't wait to fucking grow up and be an adult and do whatever the hell I want or whatever. And I keep reminding myself of that from time to time. Like, you wanted to be an adult, you wanted to grow up, like you wanted to have your own independent life and do your own thing. But I think we fill it with so much stuff that it makes the time go quicker in a way. Like, because when you're younger, what are we doing, right? Like going to school, which is kind of like a job, but like that's about it. Like it's not relationships and jobs and hobbies and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, like this past year, there are some notable things for me specifically that stand out. And I don't want to talk about this like in a way that it seems like a theme. However, there was no way for me to predict or to look ahead that 2025 was going to be the year that probably the most people I've known close to me and like affiliates or like um, acquaintances passed away. Outside of maybe 2020. My grandmother passed away in March. My dad passed away in May. My coworker that I shared an office with and worked on my project with passed away suddenly in August. And then some local people that I know that were performers, entertainers, passed away in the fall into the winter. So yeah, it was like by the end of the year, I was like, oh, that's like about 7 or 8 people, which felt very strange and uncomfortable. And the reason why I bring that up is like what also stood out to me is like after many years, decades at that matter, I went back to therapy. I did it when I was in college, and I struggled when I went in August with the coworker situation. I find myself getting really angry, um, like hair trigger angry, and I was like, okay, that's not good. That's not cool. Like, and my coworkers and the people in my life, they don't deserve that. Um, And so I was like, I gotta go do some therapy. And I utilized what we have at work, an employee assistance program or EAP, where you get so many sessions of mental health covered. So I started that, and then that got me to like want to get a different therapist, and start doing that. And that was a part of a mental health wellness journey. So when I look back on the year, I'm like, yeah, 2025 is very notable for some specific things, but not in ways that I could have expected, really. In that case, and it made me very introspective because then I started looking at things. So like Damon, when you said earlier, like, are you sure who you are? That ties into like my therapy, because my first of the two therapists, the one under the EAP, was like, what do you like? What do you do? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, when you're not working, what do you like to do? And I was like, they're like, hobbies. And then they just kept going because I wasn't saying anything. They were like, reading, watching movies, watching TV, playing games, being in nature, doing things with other people. I was like, yeah, I don't really do that. So like, and that's not to disregard this podcast and being on it for so long and what we do. Like, and this isn't a job. Like, this is kind of a hobby, but I don't talk to the whole world about this because it's a specific audience in a specific time and place. Right. So like the coworker that passed away unexpectedly did ask me a couple of times. I mentioned, and they were part of what I call the alphabet family, the LGBTQ plus, and they asked about the podcast, and I never told them what the show was because I realize in episodes like this I kind of talk about my personal life in certain ways, and I wasn't sure how I felt about a coworker knowing about this stuff. Even though we had shared some very personal things about our experiences in our lives, I was like, I feel like I want to have a little boundary on this one
Mhm.
in a way. So yeah, it was interesting to have that moment and realize, what am I doing that I enjoy and do for me and that kind of stuff. So that prompted me to like think about going and doing stuff. So I went, and saw a show, like, went to another city and bought a ticket, went and did a thing, in that case, that I realized, wow, I haven't really gone and seen theater or done any of that kind of stuff in a while.
Mm.
So yeah, like this past year was notable for me in that it was like the kind of the beginning of a change, personal like expectation on that.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I mean, it had highs and lows in various ways. So,
Yeah.
but that was kind of the outside of like the now what the hell's going on in the world,
I mean,
like the stuff.
yeah. Yeah. It's been it's been a weird year. I want to like kind of say that.
Mhm.
And I was in prep for the show, I was trying to think about it, and I was trying to think like what happened. And I
Mm,
agree there were some highs and lows and what have you. Um, but I will say there was this like overhead sort of understanding like of, for lack of a better phrase, what the fuckery kind of thing going on. Like they're like um if we are, the three of us are all based in the United States, so hello podcast listeners. Like we're all based in the United States, and you know where we are in the US right now. We have a certain regime going on. We have a certain person in the office right now, and we have a lot of stuff that has happened in this year that is cuckoo crazy bananas. I'm just gonna call it what it is, and it has been a strain on. I think everyone has had some level of this affecting them in some way, mostly in the negative. And my goal for after everything went down was to make the year trying to find the joy in things that I enjoy and hopefully spreading that joy to others. Um, um, so uh, I spent, I kept doing the things I enjoy doing, and I didn't let what was going on affect it too much. It still affected things, but I tried to continue without the heel of it being like on the forefront of the mind. Is it there? Yes. Is it prevalent? Yes. Are there things that you can do to fall into that, like darker mindscape? Yes. But I'm not ignoring that it's there. I am choosing to continue to move forward with it being there as opposed to letting it affect what I do. Um, I did the things I wanted to do without too much pressure of what could happen. Um, and that made for a little better life overall in the year without dreading. Um,
mhm.
but staying realistic and understanding what is going on in the world and knowing that it is there and going on here, especially. Um, because it's very easy to ignore it and try to press on without it being there. And I don't want to say it's easy. I will say actually it's not easy, but you can ignore it and just move on and try to move past it. But it is a very prevalent thing for us that I chose to, instead of letting it overtake me, lack of a better phrase, walk alongside with it.
Mhm.
Knowing it's there, going to probably constantly be there for the next 4 years, and um, doing my personal best to make sure that my corner of the world is brighter. Um, uh, Things that I like, the highlights for me. I went to Disney World. Like, it's weird to like think like that, but I've never been to Disney World. So Jim and I went to Disney World for the first time. Uh, Gosh, I did for to go kind of the leather route. I went to Chicago for their Onyx Blackout, which was a very wonderful time in my leather journey. In that it was a monumentous occasion for the organization Onyx, and I'm happy that I had an opportunity to go because of that. But even if this hadn't been like the 30th anniversary, which it was, I think I still would have gone. I think it being the 30th anniversary of the founding of Onyx made it even more like special. And I'm happy I did that because it was something that brought joy to me, and it was an aspect of my life that I'm happy that I had an opportunity to experience. Um, I traveled, you know, we went to Gatlinburg for the first time. I went to Gatlinburg for the first time, I should say. That was last year, 2025. So still celebrating with Jim, still living with Jim. 2025 was technically 10 years in the house. So
Yay.
that's kind of fun. You're pausing? Yes?
10 years you've been living
Yeah.
in that house?
Mm-hmm. We bought it in 2015.
Jesus. Okay. Sorry. Well, no, because like I mean, it's hard for me to remember the apartment, but at the same time, I'm like, that doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem
Right.
like it's been
Right.
10 years.
It doesn't feel like it, but it has been. And that's again like that's the weird thing. Like I agree with you. Like, oh yeah, it's been 10 years. Yeah, okay. Shit. It's been 10 years. 2015 was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That it just it's yeah. Jeff, it's very just
Right.
like shit.
So Damon, remind us, how long have you been married?
Realistically, only 2.5 at this point because we're in January 2023. But we've been together 22 years, going on 23 this year. So it's very. We did things slow, y'all.
Yeah, I had forgotten. Speaking of, like, not realizing how long ago some things were. Like my
Mhm.
sister got married before the pandemic, and I totally forgot how long ago that was.
Yeah.
I think in
I
2018
also.
or something. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, and this is sort of a general statement. Um, I think a lot of us have this like 2 year kind of like mental gap because there was a year where we didn't do anything or not a whole
Mhm.
lot. And I think that has affected us a little bit more so than I think we realize. Um, like things I'm like I'm sitting there like thinking about, yeah, 2025, yeah. So June of 2025, celebrated 10 years in the house, celebrated being married for 2 years, celebrated being together for 22 years then, and then celebrated. I'm missing one. Do. I'm missing one. Nope, that was it. Married, house. No, we got the house in May technically. Um, but it's just it's hard to think that it's only been 10 years, and then it's also like going backwards just a year and realizing, yeah, it's been a year. Um, yeah, I went to Vegas again for the second time. That I like for around the holiday, which I enjoyed as well, and it's been good. Like I said, I tried my best to find joy in things I wanted to do.
Same
Work
And
here.
how
wise,
many years,
go ahead.
Damon? How many years have you been with CMC? Oh,
21.
I'm like I broke him.
I had to think. I had to think. Got to make me think.
Goddamn
21.
math.
I officially started in September 2004. I had joined briefly in the early 2003, but didn't stay. And then I came back a year and a half later. Um, and speaking of CMC, um, the second half of the year was the first, and I had my first concert where I wasn't on the board in like 12 plus years. So I was, I don't want to say I was just a singer, but I was just a singer. And that was nice. I will admit that was nice.
Hmm.
I did things, I helped out, but not being the one responsible, kind of nice. Lie.
And for me,
Yeah.
uh, this was a year of settling.
Hmm.
So 2024, I moved to the Cincinnati area. And this last year was pretty much just settling in. Just I wasn't moving, I wasn't doing anything, just making sure I had everything I wanted here and just making it a home in some sense. Uh, and just like I think I got my Xbox this year, which got me into my obsession with filling in the Xbox points and playing a little on the console, playing a little on the PC, playing some Microsoft Jewel, making sure I open the Xbox app on my phone, to earn points so that I can make donations to various charitable organizations, $5 at a time.
Hmm.
I've actually chosen some, let's see, transgender. I had one, but then I changed to, what's the name of the organization right now? The National Center for Transgender Equality.
Nice.
And by building up 5,000 Xbox points, I can do $5 at a time. And I think I've done that like 5 or 6 times. I don't know. I haven't actually counted. But that kind of gives you an incentive to play more games.
Mm.
I got to go home for the first time
Mhm.
in, I think my sister got married in 2018. A
That's
long
what you
time.
said.
Um, I think I don't remember exactly. And I drove because it is in relative driving distance now. And I say relative because it took me 10 hours there and almost 13 on the way back.
Mm.
But the way back involved a snowstorm having just gone through.
Yeah.
It being the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
A lot more traffic than on my way up, which was the Sunday before. So I beat the traffic on the way up, was with it on the way back. So I
Mm.
got to do that. I started obsessing about nifty stories and decided to start writing my own. Then my job was forcing me to upskill in regards to Gen AI tools. And that got me to start using some Gen AI tools to help me write. And so I've been doing that. And that has kind of been my obsession over the last couple of months.
Yeah. And
Because I have this problem where I have the concept, I know what the scene I want, but actually writing in comprehensible language is the problem. And so
mhm.
I'll like write a bunch and then I'll like toss it to one of my tools, and I use some of the tools to do some research about some things to kind of like not necessarily go with accuracy, but just to get a general idea of things because it's supposed to be taking place in this fictional version of the world. So I'm like, okay, what's the general idea of this? What's the actual facts? And then I'll play with it, hand wave the things I don't want to deal with. So it's been a ride. Um, and I've been having a good old time doing it. And
Yeah.
so sometimes I'll just like take a break, play play the video games, um, uh, cook, that sort of thing. But um, that's basically the same thing that I've been doing every year. Just now I'm in Cincinnati instead of Austin. 2024 was the bigger things. The big thing for
Yeah.
me here was spending a week in Minnesota, and it was lovely.
Mhm.
I mean, besides the fact that my mom
Yeah.
has sunk deep into Alzheimer's and now is in an assisted living memory unit. Um, so, but other than that, yeah, and having visited my parents, I'm like, you've got so much stuff in this house, Dad. Now it's just you. There's a lot of stuff in here. Maybe you need to like take an inventory and start getting rid of the stuff.
Downside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not
It that's
necessarily. I don't think he necessarily would need to like even like move to a smaller place necessarily,
oh
but I think he really needs to. There's so much stuff in the house. It's clean, it's relatively organized, but I
it's
think he
just a lot
needs.
of stuff.
Yeah, he should. One of the reasons why I don't think he should move because he's got a glorious uh, workshop room in
Mhm.
the basement where he had set up his train model set, and it's beautiful. And I'm like, just you're good. Don't go anywhere. But mom's sewing room with all
Yeah.
that fabric.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
Trust
could
me.
probably donate that somewhere.
Trust
But
me. It's it, in this economy. Like if you have a place, hold on to it as long as you fucking can. I mean this. Um, I know we were just talking about like 10 years in a house, but yeah, I get a call at least once a week from someone trying to buy the house, and I'm like, no,
no, we like the
Gary.
place. We're fine.
Yeah,
I'm not here to sell the house because, well,
yeah, I like it. We're not
moving
changing anything right.
moving's a bit difficult.
Yeah,
It's a whole thing.
yeah, but I agree with like I don't. When I was saying downsizing, I meant like maybe more decluttering
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
word, better word. Yeah, decluttering is the better word.
yeah.
As
That's my thing. Is mom will definitely not be using any of her stuff
true.
uh, anytime soon at all. So I think it's time
Yeah,
to you know start getting rid of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that would
yeah,
be like okay to like books and stuff like that. Sure, keep those, but uh, a lot of the stuff which was purely mom, uh, pick and choose, passed down,
right.
like her sewing machine or something like that. She's got a lot of sewing stuff that
Mhm.
he doesn't have to like sell, but maybe give to somebody who would actually use it.
Right.
That's my thoughts.
I
Oh,
when you were talking about like the donating to the charity aspect, Jeff, it made me think about how that was another thing that I did this year that I shifted like my attention on some stuff. So like one of them, if you watch a bunch of YouTube channels or listen to podcasts, you might hear about something called Incogni. It's a company that like removes your information online from like data brokers and helps like cut down on like the marketing to you because of like you using different websites and putting stuff out there. And we're all pretty much probably guilty of it. Like you sign up for a service, a subscription, an email or whatever, and then the next thing you know, like you just get inundated. And something that Damon just said about like the house, like, people being interested in it all the time. I'm not saying this is linked, but I had wanted to do it for probably at least a good half a year or more. And there's several of the things that I watch, like there's usually like a code or a special. So I ended up using, I think it was like 40 or 50% off, like for an annual subscription, and used it. Um, I'm not going to claim that it's drastically changed my life or made it better, but it is interesting to see them like do all this work to basically they do the work on your behalf to basically tell all these data brokers, knock it off. Like I don't want my shit out there anymore, and don't sell
Right.
it and stuff. So I'm putting a link to that. That was for my own kind of personal awareness. I already have my credit stuff through the major credit companies like TransUnion and Experian and all that jazz frozen. So like I can't have people looking at my like credit history to like try to solicit me for stuff. Um, but then another thing that I did that I found out about, which actually I found out via YouTube, it got suggested to me, was this thing called Planet Wild. Um, and it's a nonprofit group that works across the globe to basically change what we're doing to the planet through various
Mhm.
projects. And they do one a month. You can like become a member. It's not very expensive. I think it's like I think the lowest amount is $6 a month. Um, and as a starter membership, you can pay yearly or pay monthly. And basically, they do kind of a rewilding project, quote unquote, like every single month. they've gamified it. You get badges, for the stuff that you do. But if you can afford a couple of dollars a month, like we used to say, like if you can afford a cup of coffee, it's pretty cool because they do stuff with animals, they do stuff with environments. And basically, their concept is we're going to work with organizations that are not necessarily well known, that have proven track records, that are basically based in the area, that understand what really needs to be done, as opposed to these broad, like, oh, we're just going to give stuff to blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And like, they're going to do this thing. Like, they had an interesting mission this year about reforesting and how, like, all these efforts in like the African continent have been really not very good because they're like, oh, we're going to plant all these trees. And it's like, well, actually, we don't need to plant the trees, and the trees don't survive anyways. Like, they don't get good maintenance and that kind of stuff. And so, like, local tribes knew like there was this technique that they could use to actually bring the forest back without having to plant things, which sounds a little strange, but it's pretty cool. And all of this has been a theme for me that I've been giving back more in terms of like the things that I do. So like I make this donation every single month. I have a couple things that I do for Patreon with artists and stuff. Like I try to be involved that way. Another thing that happened this past year was that I became an officer of yet another nonprofit that I say with much reluctancy, but it's local. I believe in it a lot. And I will continue to be involved in it probably for quite some time to come. It's long overdue actually as an entity to begin. So like it's a new venture because we're in a birthing stage of like, now that we're officially a non-profit, now we're trying to get 501c3 status. We're hopeful that comes through because once we get that, then we can become a tax deduction charitable entity for folks. And we're trying to think about like what it is that we want to do for the community and how we want to collaborate with other groups and organizations and benefits and do stuff. Because one of the things that I've kind of criticized in the past, I think on the podcast, is I feel like my local alphabet family doesn't really like to get along or work very well with each other. And I'm hoping that this group, that we're putting together might be some of that glue that helps make that happen in a way. So that's kind of been my other thing that's notable at about 2025 for me, is that I've been doing more for me, but also more for my community in a way. And like the Planet Wild thing, well, it's not, gay necessarily. I'm also thinking more about like the future of just the earth, and what that means at large. So those are some of the things for me in that way. So the other question that I had really was just like, do we think, I guess when we look back on this year, the further we get away from it, will it be more that like we have a feeling about the year in general as opposed to specific moments that stand out? And the reason I phrase it that way is like now kind of the running joke, at least with me, is when we talk about 2020, it's usually like the year we don't talk about. Like it was this thing we all experienced it across the globe in some fashion. It had like myriads of ways that it affected us. But also like it's kind of a blur. Like because we spent 9 months roughly like having this global experience, or 8+ months, and yet like I think what we mostly remember about it is not things, but how we felt and how it like impacted our lives in terms of like transportation, travel, you know what I mean? Like the ability to do things or not do things. And I think it changed people to think.
Because I got to work from home.
Well, but right, and like that changed the landscape about like work from home and like giving people more opportunities. And we've seen this slow change over time that companies are like, we need you to come into the office. And sorry, Damon, didn't mean to trigger you. So there's these there's these things about the just the way the world works And so it got me wondering, like in the future, will we look back at 2025, which is kind of a year numerically you can remember, because like if you think about like fives and tens, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
like 2000 and 2010 and 2020 and 2025. It's like, will we remember very specific things, or will it just be kind of a general feeling about the year? And I don't know if we really know that at this time. I was just thinking about that in terms of like if we looked back, if we could remember something specific, or is it more like, ugh, you know?
For me, mainly because I choose to stay out of politics because I never have good ideas or the will to action on anything. All I can think of would be this is the year that the United States became another shitstorm. Actually, became a shitstorm. Politically
Officially?
speaking. Yeah, I think it should be official. Um,
Like put a stamp on it
yeah,
officially.
the official beginning of the shitstorm. Um,
Mm.
it makes me wonder about the statistics of how many people regret their votes back in 2024. Uh, and it is the political downfall of the Democrats.
It's been a very feeling wise.
Otherwise, personally speaking, it's just another year.
Yeah,
Mm,
I
yeah.
I think feeling wise for me this year was about priority. No, that's not really a feeling, but um, personal priority. Um, like Gary, you're talking about like taking care of yourself and taking like actually going back into things and taking care of yourself. Jeff, you talked about like settling and kind of in your new, place, as it
Mm.
were. And I think that's a sort of we're taking personal priority. Um, and for me, that's kind of a what I feel about this year is that instead of acquiescing to others in a way, I put myself first.
Mm.
Yes, I have a husband. Yes, there's a relationship and all of that. That's there. But I also put myself first as
Mm.
opposed to doing things because I had to. Um, Making it a point to take ownership of the things I do. Should something should there be an issue, if there ever was. But feeling wise, um, boy, um, I think shitstorm is a really good way to put it. Just in all honesty, it this was a weird fucking year, and that doesn't help. It doesn't help that realistically we're kind of just scratching the surface, if that makes sense.
Is
It
this one?
feels very much like, hmm?
Is this one of the years where you felt like the best, where or at least how I felt, is the best political news coverage? I think came from the Daily Show
Mm.
and last week
I
tonight
think
with
that's
John Oliver.
I think so. There's a lot of like again, like it kind of weird. It's weird, I think, because we almost have to laugh at it because if we start like actually like realistically like sitting down and thinking about it, you're going to fall down a hole that's going to lead you into I think a very dark place about the reality. So having that bit of humor is helpful. Um, having said that, though, um, I think I will look back on this year as a feeling of let's get through it because we've got to keep going.
It's a reiteration
Um,
of 2020 where we're all in this together.
yeah, right. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the thing that I fear is we're going to have to get better. Like I will own, like one of the issues that I have right now is like algorithms and stuff like that. The things that I'm getting fed are feeding. Ooh, excuse me, are feeding into that negativity loop, as it were. Um, but I'm trying to break out of that and find like the joy and the humor and the fun um, in things as opposed to dealing or staying in dread.
Social media needs to
Yeah.
make sure that they've got a following in chronological timeline list. Unfortunately, all the big names don't do that. They may have a
No, they don't.
following, but it's not necessarily chronological. They always bump up
Nope.
things from that were old that are just popular.
I can't.
And they're
I can't
popular
tell you.
because they keep putting it up in somebody else's feed, somebody else's
Right.
feed, when they just want to see what was the latest thing.
Yeah, that is one of the things I've learned. I'm trying to like get
Yeah.
out of.
They're on Blue
What was
Sky.
it?
Blue Sky is great because they've got this list feature where you can or feed feature where people can. I don't know how they do program lists, but I remember Tony, aka Cubses, uh, had asked, "Is there any way where you can just see a feed without all the reposts?" And
Mhm.
I'm like, "Well, yeah, there's this feed called Only Posts. You can log in and we'll just show your regular feed with just posts and no reposts. Unfortunately, it doesn't
Mm,
show replies necessarily, but it's just their posts. So not 100% exactly what he was looking for, but it was good enough.
hmm
And he liked that. So it
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I know what they're trying to do. The only thing is, I think they're overreaching and it's not working.
Yeah.
Their algorithm doesn't work for everybody. It needs
Right.
to be personalized by individuals. Somebody is liking something a lot, maybe promote that on their for you feed. But but sometimes they start going a little too far, and I think it just ends up getting messy. And then it starts breaking because they're showing things that I'm not necessarily liking. It's just there. And of course, they don't have a dislike button to help train the feed. People, aren't you supposed to be into machine learning? Can't you have a thing of, hey, I like this post. This is something I'm interested in. This I did not like. This is not something I'm interested in. Sort of thing.
Mhm.
Mm,
Especially with ads.
Yeah.
Don't freaking show me. I want to dislike one of those damn Republican ads, which talk bullshit. That is definitely against all my sensibilities. I want to
right.
dislike that so you don't show it to me. Not because somebody paid
Uh,
you to show it to me.
Mhm.
fact. I don't want to. Yeah, actually, yeah, I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. So I'm on TikTok. Um, one of the things that has happened recently, like the past few months, um, there was a sudden shift. I don't know when it happened or why it happened or what the fuck made it happen, but I am constantly bombarded with like religious ads, and not only just religious ads, religious AI ads, and like scriptures a day, and all of that stuff. I'm like, I don't want this. I never wanted it. I don't know why this is coming to me. So I have to literally like block anytime I block it. And I'm like, I wish my um, algorithm would learn that this is what I don't want to see. But as Jeff was saying, I'm getting it probably because someone is paying them to push it towards me, as opposed to this is something that I actually want to see. And again, if you accidentally mark something or click something, like I click the thing, like most of the time the ads don't go to a page, like a profile, they go to a page, like a website page. I'm like, oh great.
Mhm.
So you're now just feeding that into that website algorithm that anyway, moving right along. Sorry.
Yeah, they a lot of places removed the dislike button. What they should have done was kept the dislike button, and if you didn't, and just not show the people that they were disliked, use that to train their algorithm. You're not doing good machine learning here. Sorry,
Right.
I've been, I've been, I've been bombarded with training regarding artificial intelligence lately. Stuff
I was going to
didn't want
say,
to.
it kind of sounds like the two of you are on your 2026 rant about the future of technology, and what that is going to be like, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think
Get off my lawn.
I think Damon and I have similar views in some points, but uh, different diverging
Places.
views in others.
Yeah. I just am not I'm not a fan of the targeted or not even targeted. I don't want it.
Mm.
So don't no. I don't
Yeah,
know. And if there's a way to make it so I don't get it, that I'd feel better about like looking at other things.
honestly, if you want a good algorithm, this is a great place to use use machine learning and having a thumbs up and thumbs down. You know, just a simple like, hey, I like this ad. It's along my lines. Maybe I'm not going to interact with it, but it's good. It's fine. Or no, please never show this to me again.
Right.
Or it's like,
Yeah.
doesn't really. I'm sorry, I don't need ads for tampons and women's health stuff because, well, you probably should know by now. Not a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Might be more appropriate than somebody else, but not me. Sorry. I'll thumbs down that just to be like, this is probably not appropriate for me.
Gary.
Try to go with effectiveness. Anyways.
No, I mean, I agree. Like, I don't. I think if people were to ask me about 2025, I'll have a hard time recalling it
Mhm.
outside of what I let off with at the beginning of the show. But if someone mentions to me about the politics, then I'll probably have a gut feeling.
Mhm.
Mm.
Probably kind of like relative to the one where you get the gurgles and you realize if I don't find a toilet soon, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah. It's accurate. It's accurate.
That was
Damon's grossed out, and I'm
the
just agreeing
visual.
with you.
If you know, you know. If you've never had that experience in your life, then I guess that's a blessing. I don't know how else to phrase it for you, but you know, there's that.
Damon, just
Anyway.
remember that power hour where he said, "I need to go," and you
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah. I know exactly what we're talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
That's on
Agreed.
video for all of you who don't know what we're talking about. Just look up the power hours. I think we have a playlist.
I will say this. I remember when I was younger, like in maybe the 80s. I don't even think it had been 1990 yet. And I was like, what will it be like in the future? Like the year 2000 seemed like so far away in a weird way. And then here we are, a quarter of a century now already into the new like
Millennium.
century, new 100-year allotment. right?
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, what next? Do you know what I mean? What will that be like? So I don't know. It'll be interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, back like I think it was 1990 or 89, we knew exactly what 2015 was going to look like. There was an entire movie that was set then.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Hey, Nike
sure.
came out with the shoes.
Right.
Unfortunately, no flying
Right.
cars and no hoverboards, but there was no Pepsi Perfect. I
See,
don't think
perfect.
Pepsi. Yeah, that was what they called it. Don't you remember Back to the Future 2?
Oh, okay. I think you meant like a legitimate product that was released to the public, and I'm
It,
like, I remember Pepsi
that,
Clear. I don't remember Pepsi Perfect.
no, Pepsi Perfect. That's why I said no Pepsi Perfect. But Nike did have a very limited run of the self-lacing shoes.
Yes, yes.
Nowadays, we kind of have it because there's a lot of shoe types that are made where the laces never. You don't have to tie the laces anymore. They're essentially slip-ons with
Yeah.
laces.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
So similar, but they don't like uh, uh, shrink, tie themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. So I don't know what this year will hold, what it will be like. I think there's some hope and in terms of like if we made it through this year, we can make it through another year. And by that I mean like I think it turned into just keep swimming.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that
It's very
mentality of
vanilla.
like right, you just keep doing, um, and going from there, so to speak. So yeah, we'll see. We're seeing where things go. I'm interested to take on some stuff and see what some potential experiences could be. Um, I'm thinking more and more about how I want to continue on a journey of self improvement and see what that will end up being like. Um, and the goal is, to have a betterment out the other end, so to speak.
Mm.
Yeah.
Being, when the year is over.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I've got for today.
Well, 2026, we're just started. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Maybe start publishing my story somewhere. I've got a
Mm.
place. Uh,
Yeah.
and it'll probably just be how I lived in Texas and just hang out.
Right.
Keep it to myself because I feel good that way. That's me. Damon will probably do more traveling.
Yeah. But
Uh,
like I think this year's going to be. My hope is this year personally will be a year of good times, and traveling for me is a good time. I like. There are some ideas on the fire about where we're going, Jim and I, and I'm looking forward to that. Beyond that, um, travel's really the main thing in my mind. Um, yeah.
well, with that, I think that's the end. Oh. How's your 2026 going to be? How was your 2025? Let us know. Pipe in. You can do that in plenty of ways, such as going to our website, comesoutloud.com, shoot us an email at comesoutloud@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 361-COL Talk. That's 361-265-8255. Follow us on whatever ones do we actually say this time. Blue Sky, Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube at Comes Out Loud, the appropriate place in the URL. Join our entourage chat on Telegram at bit.ly/telegram-col. You can find out when we're planning on recording these shows, so you know, at bit.ly/calendar-col. You can subscribe to our Google Calendar there. Get various coutamon at our merch store at Zazzle, zazzle.com/comesoutloud. Some of those designs were designed by Smashy, such as the Consent is My Foreplay shirts in various different styles that Gary and Damon are wearing. You can find more of Smashy's work at tpublic.com/user/SmashyTheBear. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/comesoutloud or send us a donation at paypal.me/comesoutloud. You can find us on the various podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and Spotify. You can find me as Box Cup. That's pretty much it. Damon?
Sorry, I just looked at Smashy's shirt list, and there's a thing I might like. Anyway, random aside. Hi, if you wish to get in touch with me, you can find me at Theater Cup 79. That's TheaterCub79 on most of the related sites. Or you can find me as Cup Umbra 79 on Blue Sky. That Blue Sky is not safe for work. For the safe for work stuff, you want DMA Gamer 79 on Blue Sky or TikTok. Gary?
If you wish to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as Gaber73.
Oh, I'm going to do the thing. Oh, over here. Yeah, it's right here. Yeah. With that, say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one, y'all.